Okay, you guys, I'm here to review Godzilla. Finally, this movie's released, and it is awesome. So basically, the plot of the story revolves around Bryan Cranston's character. He believes that an incident in 1999 at a Japanese power plant that actually killed his wife is being covered up, and something else more is being hidden underneath all that truth. Now he's a conspiracy theorist that used to work at that plant, trying to uncover what the hell all these secrets are that killed his wife and probably others in that facility. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays Cranston's son 15 years later. He is a bomb disarmament specialist in the U.S. Navy, and he lives in San Francisco with his wife, or the only good Olsen in the business. So yeah. Meanwhile, Ken Watanabe plays Dr. Serizawa, which is no surprise. I called that last year. And he's been studying what's been going on with these new nuclear tremors and nuclear fallouts, and possibly the awakening of MUTOs, 2 of them, otherwise known as massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. And they have one. There's 2 eggs, and they have one. It hatches, it gets free, it flies off. He also thinks that the MUTOs, since they're radiation fueled monsters, they're gonna go after anything with radiation in it, which also causes Godzilla to wake back up and go in pursuit of both of these monsters, because Godzilla is basically the savior of our world. He's not the villain like he was in 1954. He's actually the good guy in this movie. So that's actually pretty cool that they just made him a good guy straight off the bat, you know. Because I didn't want to see them kill off Godzilla like they did in the original film, which, spoiler alert, they don't. He actually lives, and that's good. And Godzilla seemingly helps us out. I mean, you can really see it. I mean, he swims with the Navy around the ships. They use his fins like a shark fins. You get to see him swimming and all the boats are around it. It's like he doesn't care. He's our friend, you know what I mean? Even when he's coming towards the ship, he goes underneath the ship. That's awesome. What's even more awesome is when they get to San Francisco after the male MUTO is communicating with the female MUTO, because the male MUTO hatches first. So it travels to go find the female MUTO. The female MUTO hatches. She's also much larger than the male MUTO, and she devastates Las Vegas in the most hilarious way possible, because people are gambling and the power goes out. I'll explain how that goes out in a minute, and they all go, oh. Even though the monsters and shit attacking the city is right on TV and they're right outside, they don't give a shit. They want that money. The MUTOs themselves, now their primary weapon is their legs. Why? Because when their legs hit the ground, it causes an EMP flux, and it shuts down everything. That explains why all the jets fall out the sky and on the commercials and shit. It's because of the MUTOs. They're not attacking them. It's just their I guess you could say fail-safe device to locate nuclear weapons. I guess you could say. If that makes any sense, because when they find them, they try and eat it. So yeah, and of course the female MUTO is pregnant. So of course they end up on the west side, basically in San Francisco now at this point. Godzilla also arrives there, and the military, since they're swimming around Godzilla and he's trying to come up from the sea, they get caught in his little dorsal fins, if you will, and accidentally shoots off of missiles, and it hits the Golden Gate Bridge, and more missiles are coming towards the bridge, and Godzilla comes up and it hits him. He actually saves the Golden Gate Bridge. Not only that, but the bridge looks like it's dangling. He grabs it with his hand, basically, but the stupid military is still shooting at him. He's trying to save us, but they're shooting at him. So I thought that was really good. And I love the attention to detail on his hand. Just his hand alone is awesome. Okay? Damn. I love this shit, man. And basically, we're going to have the battle of the century. But before I get to that, we're going to get to some other shit. And we're going to start with the acting. The acting in this movie is pretty good. Aaron Taylor Johnson is basically the second standout because Bryan Cranston is the first standout until Bryan Cranston gets killed around the last the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie anyways. So it's basically Aaron Taylor Johnson's movie all the way to the rest of the way through, and he does a good job. And so does Ken Watanabe as Serizawa. I thought he was actually pretty good. Even though they have to keep calling him Dr. Serizawa, like, we get it, he's Serizawa, I get it, okay? But actually they just start calling him Doctor after a while, and I'm like, good. Don't need to keep calling him Dr. Serizawa. It's like TNA. Keep calling Jeff Hardy's alter ego Willow. Like, we get it. It's his alter ego. We get it. So, yeah. The effects in this movie look downright awesome. For a movie that only cost $160 million, it is gorgeous to look at. Godzilla is the most beautiful thing on screen ever. Okay? It's amazing. It's fucking amazing. And no, don't sit until the end credits. There is no after credits. So, although by this point all you guys probably already have seen the movie by now, since this is gonna be up a week later after I'm already shooting this review. So by the time I put it up the following Saturday, you guys are already gonna be seeing this movie. So yeah. So some of y'all probably have already sat through it. So yeah. I love the CGI on Godzilla. It almost looks like Andy Serkis was Godzilla, because the attention to detail on his face alone and his eyes. Oh, you can see when Godzilla gets tired and he's fighting the two Mutos at the same time in the city. He's getting his ass kicked, by the way. And he gets an edge off one of them, and here comes the other one. And he's like, oh, come on, really? It's just like, damn. And then he also has like a little bit of disdain where he actually looks at Aaron Taylor Johnson for a little bit. Like, yeah, I'm doing this for you. Stop shooting at me. So that was kind of cool. Of course, this movie has the biggest cock tease of all, because throughout the whole movie they'll keep teasing the fights one after the other until they actually get to it. I'm like, come on, stop teasing me. Just show me the awesome shit until you get to the money shot. I'll tell you what the money shot is in a minute. Just keep getting to that awesome shit, okay? So, the female Muto lays eggs, of course. She lays eggs in a little ditch in the middle of San Francisco. The military, where the nuclear bomb is, because she wants the babies to get the nuclear spread in their genes so they can grow. You know what I mean? That's what these two did. The military goes in. Aaron Taylor Johnson discovers all this. Finds a gas truck, lets the gas truck leak full of gas, and it blows up as he comes out. And the Mutos go over there to see if their kids are alright, which by this point they're all dead. And this is right after Godzilla getting his ass kicked, and he's over there on the ground. And the Muto looks at Aaron Taylor Johnson like she was getting ready to fuck his ass up. But as soon as she does, the money shot appears. What is that? Oh, Godzilla's tail is in the air, and it's turning blue, and it goes like all the way up to his head. I'm like, oh shit, it's coming, it's coming. And then he goes like this, and his stomach actually raises. It's like, and the fucking atomic breath comes out, and it's blue. It's not red, it's blue. That's awesome. That was awesome. I was not expecting him to breathe fire. I knew it had to come at some point, but I didn't think he was gonna do it. He did it. He did it once, and then he did it just once. He did it twice, and you know what? When the first wave of atomic breath came out, he didn't have to go like this anymore. He was just like, he didn't go like this. It was just like, he was holding them still. Then he was like, ah, and more came out. I was like, oh god, this is awesome. This is fucking awesome. Okay? The whole fucking theater erupted with that shit when that happens. Not only did they erupt for that one, they also erupted the first time he came on land at the airport in Japan. That was awesome, and he actually roared at the camera a little bit. It's awesome. I love this roar, by the way. That roar is awesome. My only little gripe with Godzilla is he's kind of fat. They made him really fat in this movie. Like, why is he so damn fat? damn. He doesn't have to be that goddamn fat. I mean, come on now. It's Godzilla. Have some respect for the man. You can make him at least look like a buff character a little bit, but he's kind of pudgy. It's kind of funny. Because it makes him look smaller, but he's actually big. This is as big as I've ever seen Godzilla. I don't think I've ever seen Godzilla this fucking huge, man. This guy is... And it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's fucking awesome. So anyway, while the mother goes to check on her babies as they're burning to death, I guess you could say, Godzilla confronts the male Muto, the one that flies, because the female doesn't fly, but the male one does. And you can see him. You can see him when the Muto's flying. It shows Godzilla, and he's all looking at it like this. He's like, "All right, that's it. I had enough." Turns around, with his fucking tail, hits the Muto right into the fucking building, and kills it. And he looks at it, and he goes like this. That's over. Then you hear some crackling. He just goes up like, "Oh shit!" And the fucking building falls on him. And that's where he looks at Aaron Taylor Johnson, like I said a few minutes ago, when he's on the ground, and he disappears in the smoke. So, the military had came up with a plan earlier in the film to try and kill all three monsters with a nuclear bomb, similar to what happened in 1954. But Serizawa tells them that they tried that in 54 and it didn't work. But the dude from Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, the black guy, the cop on that show, he's a military dude in this movie, tells them, "Oh, it's gonna make the blast from that one y'all had look like a firecracker." So what they plan on putting it on a boat, sending that boat as far out into the sea, and getting the two Mutos to follow it, since they love the radiation, and Godzilla is tracking him by that radiation, so he'll automatically go follow them with them, and it will try and take all three of them out at the same time. But it doesn't work that way, because one of them is dead, and the other one's giving chase to Aaron Taylor Johnson, who's on that boat. Okay, and that's just as she shuts down the boat with her electromagnetic pulse, and it looked like she was getting ready to attack the boat. When of course Aaron Taylor Johnson is saved by Godzilla, and Godzilla looked like he was getting ready to do a homage to King Kong, because she grabbed the Muto by their fucking mouth. I'm sitting there thinking, is he gonna snap it? Is he gonna snap it? But no, he did what Godzilla did in Godzilla 2000 Millennium, where Godzilla took his head, his whole body, basically put it inside that creature's mouth, and basically blew it the fuck up. But in this case, it was even more awesome, because he grabbed it by her fucking mouth, and then he was like, right down her fucking throat. He breathed atomic breath right down her fucking throat, basically decapitating her in the same process. That was bad fucking ass. This movie is bad fucking ass. So Godzilla goes back on land. Seemingly, I thought he was gonna die, but you know what? Something came into my mind, like, he's not dead, because he just goes and falls down. I'm like, oh, he's going to sleep. He's tired. Because even when the military was shooting at him, it looked like it was hurting him a little bit, but it wasn't killing him. So at this point, I knew he was probably sleeping at this point. And several hours later, when it's daylight, of course, Godzilla re-wakens back up from his sleep and goes back into the sea. And the city now hails him as the new king of the monsters and the savior of San Francisco. It's awesome. This movie is awesome. Gareth Edwards, I fucking love you. Not only did you give us monsters, that's also a fucking awesome movie, but and that movie didn't have a budget like Godzilla does, and you make it look so, ugh. I don't like the teasing a lot though, that kind of got overdone a little bit, but the payoff is fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. Even though Bryan Cranston's only in there for like 15 minutes, which I knew he was going to die at some point, because when your name comes up in the end and it says "and," well, that means your ass is dead. That's never a good thing when Aaron Taylor Johnson's name come up first. I thought I missed it. I'm like, wait, where's Bryan Cranston? And it says "and Bryan Cranston." I'm like, oh, he's gonna die. And sure enough, he dies. This is how you do Godzilla. This is just this. Okay? Now, everybody keeps saying that before the movie comes out, of course, everybody keeps saying, oh, but the last movie was the 1998 movie. No, it's not. The last movie was Godzilla Final Wars, 2004. Look that shit up. Watch it. Because that Godzilla in 1998 is in that movie. And guess what? Godzilla kills him in 3 seconds. It's awesome. Okay? So, yeah. And in that movie, they just call him Zilla. The Japanese dubbed him Zilla because he's not Godzilla. And I agree. This is fucking Godzilla. So when this movie comes out in July for the Japan, God, I hope y'all fucking love it, because this is fucking awesome. This is what I've been waiting 10 years for. I knew Godzilla was going to come back, and they said, Toho said Godzilla will make a return for his 60th anniversary. I thought they were going to plan on rebooting the character themselves. I didn't think they were going to hand them back over to us again. I was like, oh shit, that's what worried me. But I'm not worried anymore. Because Godzilla's badass. Godzilla gets an A+ with my badass seal of approval. I highly recommend seeing this movie in IMAX 3 fucking D. You're not gonna be disappointed. My whole theater was jarring at the fucking sounds of the monsters as they're on screen. The floors rattled. It was fucking awesome. The 3D is awesome in this. If you can't make an IMAX showing, then just see it in 2D. You don't have to worry about the 3D. But since the 3D was basically the leisure of going to see this movie in IMAX, then yeah, it's pretty fucking good. But you don't really need to pay extra money for 3D if you don't want to. I'm just saying, the only way you can see it in IMAX is you gotta see it in 3D. But if you ain't gotta see it in IMAX, or you don't have money for IMAX, see it now in regular screens, then save up again and go back and see it in IMAX. I gotta go see this movie at least 2 or 3 more times, because once is not enough. Not for this movie. Okay? Gareth Edwards, you're the fucking man. Okay? I look forward to the sequel, because if you don't know, which I said last year in a video, Gareth Edwards said once he make a sequel to Godzilla, he wants it to be based off another movie. He wants it to be Godzilla's sequel, but also adding Destroy All Monsters into that mix. So, now, Toho, the movie's gonna do well. I already know this. I already know this movie's gonna bank. It's gonna bank. So, Toho will release their monsters to us to use in future installments. Because everybody thought that monster was gonna be Rodan. I kept saying it's not Rodan, because they made Warner Brothers, and Legendary, not Warner Brothers, screw Warner Brothers, Legendary made a deal with Toho. If this movie made money and it was well received, you will get license agreements to our monsters. That was the leisure. Even though the Muto, the male Muto, did look like Rodan a little bit, it wasn't Rodan. I said it wasn't gonna be Rodan. I mean, not Rodan, Radon. I'm sorry. I'm American, yes, but I'm calling it by his original Japanese name. His name is fucking Radon. Fuck that Rodan shit. Don't take his name and switch it around. Fuck y'all. Fuck America for that shit. Have some respect for the Japanese culture and hope they named their fucking monsters, please. So, yeah. I'm surprised they had respect for this movie, so thank you. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to restore order, and I'm glad it was Gareth Edwards. Oh, Godzilla's back, people. He's back. And he's badass. CGI atomic breath and all, but he's fucking back, and it's awesome. That roar is awesome. Let me know what you guys think about this movie down below. I want to know from the people who hates this movie, because I know there are going to be people who's not going to like this movie. I don't know fucking why. Oh yeah, that's right, because y'all never fucking satisfied. But yeah, we'll see. So let me know what you guys think when you see the movie, and I'll catch y'all later.